I want to bring in Michael Steele, who used to run the Republican National Committee, also has government experience as a lieutenant governor. Good evening, sir.
Hey, my friend, how are you?
I'm all right. I wanted to get to you on the leadership question. We've heard from the doctors. We've heard from Ron Klain, who everyone knows dealt with similar things. But you get to the fact that the president talks a big game. He's been using his position at that lectern to berate reporters, to pick his fights. All of a sudden, he finds himself engulfed in a scandal of his own making today, and suddenly he doesn't take a single question. Suddenly, when he is under the gun here and against the wall, he runs out of the room without taking any reporter questions. Walk us through what you see tonight.
Yeah, that's what it looks like when you get caught. That's what it looks like when you say something that is so far over the line that even someone like Trump has no way to come back. And this idea that somehow this was sarcasm or that, this had it was taken out of context. No, you can't take that out of context because there is no context in which you recommend to the American people, particularly those who are suffering with COVID-19, that they inject themselves with bleach or some type of disinfectant. So now finally the president is getting what folks around him have been saying for a few weeks, Ari. That is, you need to step out of these events, out of these press conferences, because they are killing you. They're hurting you. It's reflective in the polls. Their internal numbers are showing them the damage that's being done. That's why there's such urgency. There has been such urgency. And why now, after yesterday, the president sees, I guess I better do something about this.
Axios reports that. We mentioned that. I spoke to Jonathan Swan tonight. He talked about the personal motivations. The New York Times had a lengthy piece that said the president feels like he's been hit by a, quote, meteor, that this is unfair, that he's worried about the judgment not only of press, but of history and how he handled all this and obviously his own reelection. And then it had original reporting describing a president awaking at 5 a.m, keeping multiple televisions on, that he's watching all the channels. It described him watching our competitor news channels. It described him, quote, rage watching this channel as well. Yep. So if you're at home watching, maybe you have something in common with the president, which is watching this. He's a famously into television and a former television reality star. That's the main reason he was known to Americans when he ran. Right. But it also describes him basically obsessed. It says that he watches the Cuomo briefing every day, according to the New York Times new report today, and keeps an eye on how that plays and whether he's mentioned. Take a little listen here for your response on the other side to Governor Cuomo.
Your suggestion, Senator McConnell? Pass the law, I dare you. And then go to the president and say, sign this bill allowing states to declare bankruptcy. You want to send a signal to the markets that this nation is in real trouble? You want to send an international message that the economy is in turmoil? Do that. Allow states to declare bankruptcy legally, because you passed the bill.
Michael, how would you contrast the way Cuomo has used those briefings, which have largely, not exclusively, but largely focused on providing public health information to New Yorkers and then dealing with policy matters like what we just showed there, which was him using that bully pulpit to publicly, transparently debate or negotiate with Senator McConnell over a policy matter? How do you contrast that with the way the president has used his briefings?
Well, okay, so the Governor Cuomo has handled his briefings the way a governor should handle such briefings. And we've seen that across the country, from Maryland to New York to Michigan to Washington State. So the governor has struck the right tone, adopted the right posture. He looks gubernatorial. And in fact, as some reports have accounted, he looks presidential. Contrast that with what we've seen for the last 3 weeks, where the president comes out and he riffs, he makes sarcasm, he goes after the press, he makes the conversation about him. He's the one who's put upon, and it becomes very clear to the American people, going back to our first part of our conversation, why the numbers show what they've shown, why he's fallen from 60% approval of his handling of the virus at the beginning to now 47 or below %. So when you see what it does for Cuomo relative to someone like a Mitch McConnell, is it gives him stature and a level playing field. So it's not like a governor leader, okay, I dare you. It is someone who's been raised in stature in the eyes of the American people saying, I dare you. And now everybody's kind of, it's like that scene in the movie where, you know, the one character goes, I dare you. And everybody looks over at the other guy and goes, what you going to do? Right? That's where McConnell is right now.
Almost like saying, I wish you would.
Yeah.
Michael Steele,
Exactly.
you make it plain, even when it's tough news cycles, sir. I appreciate you.
You got it, my friend.
Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.